Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over the biggest glitches and problems that currently exist with building in Fortnite. Last week in my video about console/controller Fortnite being worse than ever, I showcased a pretty major controller building glitch. You can go back and watch that video if you want to see the details and proof of the glitch in full, but the gist of it is that some combination of Builder Pro, turbo building, and the setting Builder Pro builds instantly can sometimes cause pieces to randomly not place. And so many of you guys that commented on the video were just absolutely shocked to see that glitch. As I pointed out, it's something that could be happening to you rather frequently, but because it's so hard to notice, you wouldn't even know it. Most people would probably just chalk it up to clicking the wrong button or some kind of hitch or lag spike in the game. The bad news is that definitely isn't the only major glitch in the game right now when it comes to building. And hopefully in this video, I'll be able to highlight and explain the major ones while also showing proof that they exist. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first building problem/glitch that I want to highlight in this video is the problem with build phasing in Fortnite. Phasing through builds is, as the name suggests, basically being teleported through newly built walls, floors, or stairs. Now, something that a lot of people don't realize is that the act of phasing through builds in itself is not really a glitch. It was a feature that was intentionally implemented into the game sometime around Season 3. Just to give you guys some further background on that, Season 3 was around the time where players really started to embrace the building side of Fortnite and the skill gap that it created. It was the first time you started to see certain building tactics like 90s and ramp rushes, which even though they're super common now, were a real game changer back then. The problem was, with the way building worked back then, 90s especially as well as certain other build techniques were very difficult to consistently do. And that was mainly because of a phenomenon which was given the clever and funny name of Harry Pottering yourself. Which, if you guys aren't familiar with, basically means getting pushed under your staircase while building. Harry Pottering was such a common issue at this time because phasing hadn't really been added into the game yet. The way the physics of building pieces worked at that time was pretty much if any part of your body was under the structure when it was placed, your entire body would be forced under it. Just imagine for a second all those times you do 90s and you kind of get a little boost that pushes you on top of your staircase when you place it. Back before phasing was reworked in Season 3, a lot of those situations would have resulted in you instead being boosted under your staircase. So you can kind of understand the reason why it was added into the game in the first place. However, even though phasing actually did work really well when it was first introduced into Fortnite, it's pretty much gradually gotten worse and worse over time. Let me show you guys a quick clip by a Twitch streamer and YouTuber named Daija that shows the problem with the current state of phasing. Pay extra close attention to the first example because that one is just insane, and Daija's Twitch and YouTube links will be in the description below. Alright, so even though you just saw it with your own eyes, let's kind of break down what's so bad about that clip. As you saw in the first part, literally the player's entire character model was under that newly built floor piece, yet when he jumped up, he was still able to fully phase through it. Plus, on top of that, not only did he just phase through the structure, he phased through it incredibly quickly. Almost like he jumped on a launch pad or bouncer or something, and that's pretty obviously an action that should never happen. And the second part of that clip was a lesser, yet still important example of the same thing. The only difference was that it was with stairs instead of a floor piece, and at least some of the character model was above it this time. So even though phasing is a feature that probably has an overall positive impact on building and on Fortnite in general, something somewhere along the line has gone very wrong with it. Based on what I remember from the past, phasing through a structure used to more so push you to the side of the structure if a solid amount of your character model was already through it. But now, you're having players that mainly only have the very top of their head poking through a floor or a ramp just burst through it while also getting a speed boost. In terms of solutions for the current problems with phasing, I've actually heard a few good ones. The most basic solution is to simply define a certain percentage of the character model that needs to be above a newly built building piece to phase through it. Now, logically, you would think that something like 51% would make sense here, but in my opinion, that would actually be a bit too similar to before the phasing rework in Season 3. I agree with the people I've seen who say that somewhere around maybe 33% would be ideal. Basically, if you at least have your stomach or a decent amount of your upper body above a newly built structure, you should probably be able to phase through it. And I think we can all agree that the phasing speed boost, which has somehow made its way into the game, needs to be removed altogether. The second really interesting solution I've seen is that phasing should be treated differently for enemies than it is for yourself and your teammates. So for example, if it's a building piece that you just built, you would be able to phase through it in pretty much the same way it works right now. As long as any of your character model is above it, you can phase through it. But if an enemy is trying to phase through any of your building pieces, they need to have a much higher percentage of their model above it to phase through. I think both of those are really interesting options, and they would probably eliminate a lot of those frustrating deaths where enemies just randomly fly through your ramps and floors, while also making it so that you don't get Harry Pottered every time you try to do a 90. The next building problem slash glitch that I want to talk about in this video is the speed of the first building piece while turbo building. For a long time in Fortnite, the speed of turbo building went like this. The first piece you turbo built took 0.15 seconds, and then every piece after that took 0.05 seconds. I don't think Epic ever directly stated the reasoning for this, but it only makes sense that it was done to kinda give a bit of an advantage to turtling players who would just hold down the turbo build button while inside of a 1x1. However, due to overwhelming complaints and requests from the community, turbo building was finally changed in Update 7.40, where they reduced the timer for the first piece from 0.15 seconds down to the normal 0.05 seconds. This was a really solid change that in general made building a lot smoother and more consistent as a whole. However, I briefly mentioned in one of my previous videos that over the past 2 weeks or so, players have started to theorize that the change had actually been reverted. And even though I thought that was a really interesting idea, I didn't say anything more because there wasn't any truly conclusive proof available at that time. Well, a few days ago, a Reddit user posted a video clip that showed concrete evidence that backed up what everybody had been saying. It was so concrete that it even forced an Epic Games employee to respond to the thread with the following comment: "We're looking into ways to resolve this issue. We'll provide an update once we know more." So first off, I think it's at least a little concerning that a pretty major change like that can somehow just randomly get reverted for no apparent reason. And I really hope that Epic didn't know it had been reverted or even did it intentionally, and then just kind of kept it quiet and hoped nobody really figured it out. So turbo building is currently the main culprit in at least 2 pretty major building glitches right now, so I'm really hoping that they can get to the bottom of that. And the final glitch with building that I want to quickly cover in this video is actually a pretty rare one, but it's actually gotten me killed twice in the past week or so. It's a glitch that shows an enemy built structure as if it were your own. Here's about a 5-second long GIF from a Reddit user named Euphoric Pup that shows what it looks like and how it can actually get players killed. So it happened quickly, but if you caught it, the enemy replaced his wall, but it displayed an option for him to edit it, which is something that's obviously only possible with friendly walls. Now normally, when you get your wall replaced, you'll immediately build a ramp so you're protected from being edited and pumped. But since you think it's your wall, you're probably just going to continue holding down turbo build, which therefore makes you a sitting duck. Now obviously the issues with phasing and turbo building are way more common than seeing enemy pieces as friendly, but it's yet another example of a building glitch that could so easily result in you being unfairly killed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. This video was about the biggest building glitches and problems in Fortnite right now, so I want to know, have you guys experienced or even died because of any of the things we talked about in this video? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.